Cell Max is clearly the main villain of the new Dragon Ball Super superhero movie. But at the same time, he's in a bit of a weird place when it comes to Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2 and just games in general for Dragon Ball, because this is a character that is, well, a giant type of character. You don't see giant types of characters usually in games like Fighters, in games like Xenoverse. Yes, you may see this character in Dokkan at some point in time as an actual playable character, or even in Legends potentially as a playable character, but in Fighters and in Xenoverse 2, usually characters like this do not make it in as actual playable characters where you can use them in online fights. In Xenoverse 2, for example, using them in parallel quests, in raids, things along those lines. I do not think that is going to be the case with Cell Max, and I don't think they're going to change anything up for this character either and make him like smaller or anything along those lines to where proportion wise he looks more like a normal character. So how are they going to actually implement Cell Max in DLC 15/DLC 16 for Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2? I have a couple ways that I actually think they could do this for this character, and multiple ways to where we can actually use this character in some way, shape, or form as well. But first and foremost, the first and most obvious way I think they should implement this character is through a raid. I mean, that should be obvious to anybody who plays Xenoverse 2. Cell Max is a perfect raid boss type of character. We have great apes as raids, so of course Cell Max being a giant type and being almost as big as like a great ape, it would fit perfectly for him to actually be a raid boss in the game. And then at the same time, it would kind of open up the door to seeing more giant characters like that being added in as actual raid bosses. For example, the man's Hirudegan. Hirudegan would have been dope to see as a raid boss in the DLC that Tapion dropped. Or the character from Dragon Ball Super with the like science universe where they all fused into this giant beast. I don't know, I don't remember the name, it's been so long since I've seen Super, but the character like that as a raid boss would have been cool to see during the time that he was actually getting screen time. So again, Cell Max being a raid boss I think is the most obvious and best way for them, or easiest way for them to implement this character into Xenoverse 2 with DLC 15 or DLC 16. Now I still do have other ways that I think they could implement this character as well. The first being, well, expert missions. Because if this character was just put into raids, then we would only be able to see Cell Max in Xenoverse 2, well, during that raid period. Besides that raid period, we would not have any way of fighting against or playing with Cell Max in any way, shape, or form in Xenoverse 2. So I think adding him in as an expert mission would be pretty cool. And I know we haven't seen a new expert mission in quite some time. I believe like DLC 5 or 6 was like the last time we actually got a new expert mission. But it would be cool for this character, considering, again, this is a character that they can't really add in as an actual playable character on the roster. So seeing him as a expert mission along with a raid would be really dope in my opinion. But that brings me to the final way that I think this character should be implemented into Xenoverse 2, and that of course is the Crystal Raid battles, guys. Crystal Raids I feel would be perfect to implement characters like a Cell Max, but also at the same time like Great Apes. Like Great Apes, in my opinion, should be Crystal Raid boss battle usable, because that would just be a way for us to finally use these Great Ape and giant characters in the game, but at the same time have them to where they're still OP and still fun as hell to use, not nerfed to the ground like Giant Namekian was early on in the phase of Xenoverse 2. So again, I think as a Crystal Raid boss, it would be the all-around best way to put this character in the game, because then not only can you fight against Cell Max if you're not the actual raider, but you can also use him when you are the raid boss in that mode. So I think that would be the perfect way to implement this character, because again, adding him in as a regular roster character, they cannot really do that, and I understand why that is not going to happen. But at the same time, if they did put him in the Crystal Raid, we would actually be able to play with this character as well, which is something that, again, a lot of people are not expecting in Xenoverse 2, considering that he is a giant character, and like I said earlier, we usually do not see these giant characters as playable in this game. So let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. What do you guys think about all the different ways that I said that Cell Max could be implemented into Xenoverse 2, and which of these 3 ways would be your most wanted way for Cell Max to come to this game? Personally, I would mostly want, him to be in crystal raid battles, so this way we can not only fight up against him as a actual raid boss, but at the same time you will be actually able to use this character as well, which I really personally would want to do. I mean, this is a new character in a sense to the Dragon Ball realm and the Dragon Ball lore, whatever you want to say. It is a new character we had not seen before, even though it's a different version of Cell. It's again a different version we have not seen or been able to use in any Dragon Ball game up until this point in time. So again, let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments, and which way you would like to see Cell Max implemented the most in Xenoverse 2. And if there's any other way that you think this character could be added in that I may have missed, I really don't see how I could have. But if there is, let me know down below in the comments as well. But till next time, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and as always, hope you guys have a good one. Peace, y'all.